game today, right? I guess, how do you navigate that kind of game, especially in the first game of the season when you're trying to get a system going?
Yeah, it was. I said it was tough to watch for everyone, I think. But it is what it is. I just told our team we have to adjust too. You know, you got to learn. Obviously, they're calling it tight, so you gotta, you gotta adjust to how the game's being called. So, but I don't know if I've ever had a team that sent someone to the line 34 times. That's a lot. So. We obviously need to be more disciplined in our defense and not bailing people out.
It's a similar question for you at the wings. Like we've talked so much about what they can do, but how do you see that taking shape and kind of being a focal point for you guys?
Yeah, it's nice to have some versatility and have some options, and it's not like last year we went heavy to Dal, right, with a lot of our zoom action and getting her downhill. Well, we have multiple people now that we can kind of get them going, and and then you got to guard them because they can score at all three levels. So I think it's just gonna be fun to watch, to see them starting to gel together. It's still so early. Like you see flashes of it when they're making passes, and Gretchen made some crazy passes, and they're playing so connected. And there's times where we're not playing that way. So it's a process. It'll come, but I thought there were some really good things tonight between all of them. And I also think once we get Aaliyah back too, and just even have one more guard where we can even give some of those guys a little bit of a break sooner, I think that's going to help us too, because we can keep people fresher.
Coach, kind of on the same lines, there were 11 minutes for Destiny Jackson, and also a high assist rate in this game. What does it do for the wings to have a point guard that can blow by defenders, create space, draw defenses and kick and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean that quickness, is just we've had that right in our guards. You saw that with someone like a Makaira, in the past, and she can just get by her defender, and Destiny's a high level passer. She has great vision. She'll start making those. She makes all of her layups in practice. She'll start making. That's the least of my concern. She's getting there. She can get to the rim. She'll finish those. But to have 6 assists and only 2 turnovers in 33 minutes as a freshman, and they were physical. Like they were getting up and they were guarding, and so I think that's really, really good for her. And even in just our 3 games, our scrimmage, our exhibition, and then now, I just see growth every game, and she's just going to continue to feel more comfortable, feel more confident, and run the team. So where it obviously it sucks that Aaliyah's out, and you hate to have anyone out. I always try. It's hard for me to be positive at times about it, but maybe it's it'll help us in the long run, because Destiny's getting some really good experience early on and really good minutes now, and then we bring Aaliyah back in, and she'll have that experience of some college games under her belt.
Shauna, I know you mentioned just the impact and how you like bringing Maddie off the bench as a spark. What do you sort of envision as that role, and what kind of impact that she can provide?
Yeah, she could start. We have 6, 7, starters, right? Like we have a lot of kids that could start. So I love her coming off, because she's literally instant energy on defense, on offense. She's aggressive. She's gonna come in. She's gonna get in the mix, and I just really like having that off the bench. Some of our best teams. Here, maybe not as much because we haven't had the depth, but even when we had Gretchen coming off the bench, Gretchen could have started last year, right? But it's just our best teams at Dayton. I had a first team all conference kid that I put on Jen Giacone, who was a assistant here my first year. I had her coming off the bench, and she was a first team all conference player her senior year because of what she did, and then she's still gonna play. Like Maddie played 28 minutes, so she's playing a ton of minutes. You have to have that bench. The elite teams have firepower off the bench.
Coach, what was your message to the team today? Obviously, this is a group that hasn't played a lot together, but just after game 1, just what was that message?
After the game?
Mm-hmm.
I told them, obviously, anytime you win a basketball game and you go 1-0, it's hard. It is so much goes into winning one game. It is so hard to win a game, right? So we need to enjoy it, and you need to be proud of it. And there's a lot of good things, but then it's very simple. We gotta do better of keeping the ball in front of us. We can't get blown by so much, and they know that. So we're gonna continue to work on it. And that then also, because if we're in rotation more, now our rebounding is gonna be affected by that as well. So that's it. That's as simple as it gets defensively. It's really hard, but it's very simple. And then offensively, I don't even think we were that great, and we scored 91 points. So we'll get that coming. My concern is defense right now and rebounding and getting them. And I was very, I don't know the right word, in one of the timeouts. And then I said, you guys, you got to figure this out. And I didn't yell or scream the rest of the timeouts. And then at halftime, I said, you guys, you got to figure this out. You know the answers to the test. They know exactly what they need to do. They know how to do it. You got to figure it out. And that's part of the process of growing and maturing as a young team. At some time, you just got to draw the line in the sand and take extreme ownership and say, we're getting a stop here, or we're not getting blown by, or we're going to be in our positioning and be there for help. So those are things that we'll just continue to, I got to keep saying it. I got to keep harping on it, because it's who we are. It's why we've had success, and we will get there. We will get there. It is a long process, and I saw glimpses and I saw good responses today with it. It's consistency of doing the disciplined defensive tendencies that are our core values.
Coach, there's one play that really sticks out from in the third quarter where there was a rebound secured, pitch out to Gretchen near half court, and she immediately sends a pass over the top, and the ball barely touched the ground. How do you incentivize more activity like that, and seeing that it has such a positive impact on the flow of the game for y'all?
Yeah, that was a beautiful, play. So I think that's some of the just chemistry stuff of them playing together and understanding, but that also, because that was in transition, the play you're talking about, and Gretchen, is that the one she made the pass to
Maddie.
Yeah, to Maddie. That also came off of a really good defensive play, right? So now we're able to go and utilize the skill sets that these guards have. I mean, Gretchen's a really good passer. Maddie's a really good passer. Destiny, Jazz, they're great vision and they're willing passers, but that all starts from getting stops. But that was a beautiful play, and we see those. That's the fun part about this group, really, is that, and also frustrating, but it's like, you can see, I see certain things, and I'm like, damn, when we put all this together, like, we can get there, right? And so some of those plays, it shows the skill set and the ability of these guards. And I think it's nice, just the height. They can see over the press, they can see over and make some of those passes.
We talked a lot about the depth in the post, with Cece in foul trouble, Letty coming back, Haven still pretty inexperienced. What's this non-conference for you guys to just kind of get that post all up to speed?
Yeah, I mean, today you saw, I put a lot of them in and rotated them around. I don't want Cece to ever be in foul trouble, but it's a good learning experience for her, and then also for our team to have to step up, and who's going to step up and when something like that happens, right? So again, I don't have a great answer for you. It's just a lot of it's going to be through experience that we're going to have to learn, and then it's going to be who produces when they're out there. It's very simple. If you produce, I'm gonna keep you out there. We're trying to win games, so if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and you're defending and you're rebounding and you're running the plays right, that person's going to stay out there longer. So we just need people to continue to be ready when their number's called and produce.
Cece was only out there for about 11 and a half minutes, but your team was up 23 points when she was on the floor. I guess, what does that say about her impact when she is playing?
Yeah, I thought she played more than that. That's crazy. She only played 11 minutes. I think that it's, it's good that she scored, last game, 22? And she still had 8 points in 11 minutes. So to be able to still score 91 with her out there, I think it does show the depth. And some other guys stepping up, but we need her on the floor. So biggest learning curve as a freshman, though, is defense, right? And learning, especially when the game's called that tight, learning you know, when you're gonna have to pull back some. And I kept her in there on purpose. I mean, I might have pulled her out earlier in a different game, but I needed to learn too. Let's see if she can play with 4 fouls, right? Let's see if she can do that. So those are things, again, early on. I'm trying to learn, she's learning, and then once we're in a different game, maybe in the Big Ten, I might not have kept her out there for that.
I have a two-parter about Aaliyah. I know you said she was getting back to things a little bit. There's kind of a little bit of a gap here before Sunday. Do you have any sense of optimism that she may or may not be available? And then when she does come back, what can that do for Destiny, just to have someone else to take the reins a little bit and slow things down?
Yeah, hopefully, you know, I will know more. I think she was meeting with the doc after tonight, so I'll know more. But you know, she's been doing a little bit in practice, so we're hopeful. Hopefully, she can maybe play some minutes. I don't know. It's kind of day to day to see how she responds. But again, I think it'll be good for all of us. And she needs game reps. We got to remember, like, you know, she has not played because she didn't play. She didn't play in our scrimmage. She didn't play in the exhibition, obviously. So she hasn't been out there. So then that'll be another kind of learning curve. It'll be her first game, and as we ease her back into it. So, but I do think, like, there's times I'm like, I wish we had one more guard. So I think that'll be just for some rotations and getting people some breathers. Because again, that's where last year they had to play through. They had to play through when they're tired, and they had to play extended minutes. And I think our defense suffered some. So it'll be nice to be able to kind of rotate them in, give them even a minute, 30-second break, whatever it is, and kind of rotate people around.
With Letty also coming back from a pretty significant injury, where would you say she is on her sort of road to recovery in terms of just getting back to 100%?
Yeah, it's gonna be a process too, right? Like, she hasn't played in almost 2 years, and what she went through. So, you know, and then there's gonna be days that she may not feel as good too, and so it's just all part of the process. It's going to take her time. I thought she did some really good things tonight, and then there's some times where, you know, we need her to be better defensively and protect the rim a little bit more. But, you know, I got to be patient with her. She has to be patient with herself, because she has to kind of just get back into that groove of playing basketball. And now it's going to be playing, you know, we have a lot of games now. There's not a lot of recovery time. So how does she respond to that? Luckily, we have a day off tomorrow, and then we still have 3 days preparation, which will be good for a team that is still kind of recovering from some injuries. Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Coach.